Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the what's next on Raymond Ford, the now former WBA Featherweight Champion of the world, as on June 1st on the 5 vs. 5 pay-per-view card, he suffered the first loss of his professional career, a very close split decision to Nick Ball in a battle between Queensbury and Matchroom, and for the WBA Featherweight title. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So, you know, tough loss for Ray Ford, but, you know, he really has, in just, you know, less than 3 months, he got the biggest win of his career and then suffered the first loss of his career, won a world title and lost the world title. But for Raymond Ford, I don't think, I don't think he's too upset about the loss in terms of what he does going forward, because Ray Ford wanted to move to 130 after the fight with Kolmatov. He stayed here to get on a big show. He stayed at 126 to get on a big card against another undefeated fighter in Nick Ball. Now he can move up to 130 without hesitation, without giving up the belt. You know, yeah, he suffered a loss, but I think he's going to be better for it now. If the weight was really a struggle for him, I think he's going to move up and be comfortable and be okay now. Now, he did mention he's going to try to get Nick Ball to come up to 130. I don't think that's going to happen. Nick Ball's a champ. Why would he do that? And, you know, there's the prospect for Nick Ball of anyway moving up at some point. Plus, he has unification options, and Nick Ball, as we said in his What's Next video, has a ton of options. So I don't see that going down. But let's take a look at what possibly could be coming up for the reigning or for the former champ Ray Ford, as I'm going to rank him as a super featherweight now. I think he's going to be there. So we start with all right, so we start at the top. He's not currently ranked in any governing body, so you have to lean towards he's probably going to go after another Matchroom guy, you know, when he moves up there, or stays busy. So let's see. Let's run through the top 10 though. Number 1, Emmanuel Navarrete. It's not going to happen because 1, they're with rival promotions, but 2, even if it was a possibility, he's not a big draw for Navarrete, and Navarrete, if he comes back down to 130, Navarrete has to fight Oscar Valdez in a rematch next. So this one is not going to happen. Then Robson Conceição, not seeing it. He's a top-ranked guy. He's fighting Oshaki Foster for the WBC title in July. I don't see these two guys locking horns for the title. I don't see them locking horns, even if whether Conceição wins or loses. I just don't see him being interested in going after a Matchroom guy in either direction. He's going to have too many options if he wins, and if he loses, he'll probably just stay in-house with top rank. Then there's Joe Cordina, the former 2-time IBF champion. Not seeing this one. Cordina's on his way up to lightweight, so even though they're both with Matchroom, I don't see this one taking place. Then you got new IBF champion Anthony Cacace. Not seeing this one. Cacace is going to be squaring off next against Eduardo Hernandez in a mandatory fight, so I don't see that one being possible. Then you got WBC champion Oshaki Foster. Foster's fighting Conceição next, and if victorious, I think he's going to have too many options. So I don't see him being interested in a guy from a different promotion, because remember, Foster is with a top rank. Then you got Shavkat Rakhimov. Not seeing that one. Although it is possible that Rakhimov and him could show interest in each other, but Rakhimov's coming off back-to-back losses to Cordina and a knockout loss in his last fight against Eduardo Hernandez. I don't think he'd want to come straight in against the guy who would, I mean, I think it'd be pretty believable that he could beat Rakhimov. So even though it's an easy fight to make because both guys are with Matchroom, I don't think it happens. Then you got WBA champion Lamont Roach Jr. He still hasn't chosen a promotion that he's going to work with. He's defending his title against a nobody this month in June. And then after that, I think he has mandatories due, so I don't think him and Ray Ford is going to be an option. Then there's former champion Hector Luis Garcia. Garcia's coming off back-to-back losses to Lamont Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis. And he's a PBC guy, so I don't see this one being possible. Then you got Oscar Valdez, the WBO interim champion. Not seeing that one. Valdez is with Top Rank. He's lined up to fight for the WBO title against Navarrete. If he doesn't get that fight, he'll be upgraded to full champion, and I think there's a good chance he fights the winner of Foster and Conceição to unify belts. So not seeing him and Ray Ford happening either. Then there's hard-hitting Mark Magsayo. I don't see this one. Magsayo's a PBC guy. I just don't see the draw for this kind of fight. But, like for Turki Al-Sheikh to make these guys cross the street and fight each other, I don't see the interest there. Then you got Edward Vasquez. Here's a good opponent right here. I think Vasquez is a real good opponent because I believe, if I'm not wrong, this is actually a rematch between these two guys. Vasquez fought for a title last year and came up short, but remember, he fought Ray Ford before and maybe should have got the win. You know, that was a close fight. So if Ray Ford makes his debut at 130 and wants to leave no doubt, Edward Vasquez is a good opponent for him to take on, so I'd like to see that. Then you got Zelfa Barrett. Zelfa Barrett's waiting around for a title shot right now, and somebody to give him an opportunity. These guys are both with Matchroom. This is a good fight to make, but does Ray Ford want to make a debut against a guy who can box like Zelfa Barrett? Tough matchup right there, but I do like the matchup, and I think it's about a 50-50 fight. So that's an interesting one right there. Then you got Jordan Gill. Jordan Gill's coming off the loss to Zelfa Barrett. Maybe he would fight, a guy like Ray Ford just to try to get back into the swing of things. I could see that being a possibility. You got Rocky Hernandez, another guy, definitely could be a possibility. Rocky Hernandez coming off a big win over Daniel Lugo, and he wants to, continue to make a name for himself. Ray Ford making his debut at 130 against a guy who fought for a title last year and came up just short in Rocky Hernandez. This wouldn't be a bad option for Ray Ford right here. You got Lee Wood, another fight that would be easy to make, but Lee Wood right now is trying to finalize a rematch with Josh Warrington for his debut at 130. Maybe down the road, but I don't see this one next. Liam Wilson, I don't think he wants to come back just yet against a top-tier fighter following another knockout loss to Oscar Valdez. So I don't see that one. Mohamed Yakubov, I don't think that one's a good matchup for Ray Ford in his debut. Otar Erderosian, I think he's in line to fight Lamont Roach next for the WBA title. Then you got Albert Bell, an undefeated top contender in the WBO. I don't see that one, but you never know. That could be a possibility. Jono Carroll is also in line to fight for the title. I would love to see Jono Carroll and Ray Ford fight each other to be the next mandatory in the WBA. That would be good if they wanted it. It would be interesting because Jono Carroll's got to wait around anyways unless the WBA orders him to fight Erderosian. And then you got Kenichi Ogawa. He's another Matchroom guy and a veteran and a former champ. I think that fight makes a ton of sense. Eduardo Nunez is fighting next for the IBF title against Anthony Kakachi, so that's not a possibility. There's Archie Sharp, I think, and then some guy named Chevrolet. Those guys, I mean, those are possibilities, but it just depends on what Raymond Ford is going to go for in his debut at 130. But to be honest, I wouldn't take my foot off the gas pedal with a knows he believes the reason he lost or struggled was because of the weight. Struggling to make the weight. He barely lost. Why not come right back and go right back into the mix of things and fight a legitimate contender? I think Kenichi Ogawa is a perfect opponent for him at 130. He's a former champ. I think that's a good option for him in his debut. Jono Carroll or Jordan Gill are good options as well. Both guys that have been there, done that, and it could help him move up the rankings. Edward Vasquez in a rematch. I think he's not going to fight a top 5 guy right out the gate, but he's got a bunch of options to ease himself into the division and to work his way into a world title shot by next year. So Raymond Ford, I think, has a lot of options, and I hope he cashes in on them very soon at 130 and makes a splash, because I do like Raymond Ford. So that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on Raymond Ford, the now former WBA Featherweight Champion, following the first loss of his career to Nick Ball, where he lost the WBA title on June 1st on the 5 vs. 5 pay-per-view card. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.